Okay, we are summarizing what we did today in terms of ChatGPT, YouTube, and then diary. We might jump around. Let's go. So, um, so let's start with GPT. Here we have kind of looked at, is there a reminder? This is the best one, break reminder. You can get it at the Windows Store, and it kind of looks like this. It's pretty sick, and you just add a reminder, and then every 30 minutes it sends a little box down here, and you can trigger it at any time, which is cool. This is what it looks like, and then it goes away. So that's real nice. And this just means follow whatever's in Windows. If it's not, you'll always get the notification and always want the notification. And by default, it's checked off, so nice. It's like not checked. So Gundry recommends against these, and for the most part, we're right, because this is just sugar. These two are okay, but the potassium sorbate and the sodium phosphate, how they're made, and we'll get into that, is not ideal. Some of the chemical processes they do, especially on, I believe it's pectins, and same thing for pectin. Like any gums, yes, it's fiber, but depends on how they're made. And because this acid extraction, then they filter it, they have alcohol on it, and then they dry and they put amide, they put amides on it. That, all 5 of those steps, the product acquires like residue, and yes, some of it is with, I mean, it's all supposed to be below the parts per million or whatever threshold is set. I can tell you right now, even if you are not sensitive, it's unhealthy, and if you are sensitive, you will react to a lot of these, even they're like lower than the threshold. A great is like if you're gluten intolerant, and a lot of the products tested for gluten were actually above thresholds, especially in the US. And there are several studies ranging, but very rarely does every product get below the threshold. Depending on how sensitive you are, you could react to that as well. So it's best to avoid these altogether. Again, this one's pretty bad. This one's straight petrochemical. They're taking aldehydes and ketones, and they're putting that through potassium hydroxide. Not great. So that's this one's not as bad, but still. This way says to avoid them. D is just really hot butter. That's more stable. It is not fermented. Fermented is way better. So cool thing is the short chain fatty acids are your bacteria. The essential long chain precursors are your ALA and your LA, and then they become EPA, DPA, and DHA on the ALA side, and then arachidonic acid on the LA side. So you have those two pathways. That's pretty cool. And you can see here even building up the numbers. I believe this is how many atoms in which structure. So you can see here, this is just slightly larger than this, and then it builds up. You can see 22.5, it turns into 22.6 because ALA goes to EPA, goes to DPA, then DHA. So that's pretty sick. So I think that covered a lot of these individuals were on my fast 3 times a day. 3 meals a day. Some fast before eating the first meal, and then definitely 3 or 4 hours before sleeping. So any highlights here? These have hydrogenated fat, some of them, so that's trans fat, which not great. Yeah, I think the AI scans from a bunch of PubMed stuff, so it takes a lot of old information out there, like 10, 20 years old, and says, oh, like have oats, for instance. So that's why ChatGPT is behind, and I've experienced that. If you're very specific and you know what you're looking for, it can pull the data, but some of the data is outdated. So And also, so here, she said, yeah, she fasted to lose 30 pounds, and then she lost all of this pretty much. She had like plantar fascia, which is like pretty much foot pain, chronic foot pain. And there's a lot of comments saying, hey, yeah, fasting, nothing worked except fasting, and then I cured my chronic pain on the peripherals. I wanted to see why that was, so we looked up here, and we saw that, yeah, actually fasting, it will trigger, like we talked about, autophagy. And if you're having trouble, especially with nerves, inflammatory pain, kind of a centralization, like hyper pain sensitivity, things like that, it will take care of that, which is awesome. And most of the time, if we want to go down here, most of it, if you add the upper limits there, or even the upper limits, it actually exceeds the structure. And structure is usually acute. It's like if you know you have a tear, super inflamed, your early phases, that's here. Otherwise, you're probably better off trying some fast. You could start with an OMAD, and then proceed to like a 36, 40 hour fast. Most people can definitely tell at 36 hours if something's working. So yeah, that's cool. And the short answer is, if you have enough calories for the day, so like an OMAD, if you get enough calories, usually this is better if you fast rather than eating a lot of calories and like let's say a slight surplus and not fasting, if your problem is inflammatory, which it probably is in chronic conditions, right? So it's better off if you fast but still get adequate nutrition at the end of the day. If you're fasting for multiple days, just when you come back, get adequate nutrition. That's the best. Now, if you're just talking about injury, like injuries and healing those injuries, if your last meal is carb heavy or fat heavy, that could interfere with your carb for insulin and fat just with digestive not being optimal, and it could interfere with your growth hormone early at night. Usually though, getting enough calories and protein always beats being in a deficit. But the great way is you just squeeze it, and if you squeeze it and you're transitioning from having meals throughout the day to one time with the same amount of calories, you're going to feel hungry throughout the day. And if you, let's say you have 3 meals normally, and now you're down to 2 meals, that third meal, you're going to have hunger there. But that's more rhythmic and ghrelin, especially if you're getting enough calories and protein, right? So don't let that deter you. Fasting will take care of the inflammation, and you'll still get enough to repair. And the repair rates, even if you don't get enough, they're not crazy negative. Like, you'll lose, where is it? Yeah, 10 to 30% if your energy deficit is 20% to 40%. I mean, that's not that significant. It's not like you're like cutting it in like by 70%, 80%. Like it's gonna take 5 times longer, right? So, but it is important to get enough if you can. That's the main takeaway. Cool. So that's everything here. And if you think you're like, oh man, I ate enough, you'll know, because if you didn't, you'll wake up at 3 to 4 a.m. You'll be cold, irritable. You won't be able to train as much. You'll pretty much be like restless to get food later. And we're not just talking hunger at your defined time, we're talking even later. And you probably won't make it to, if you normally fast 5 hours, you won't be able to fast 5 hours without feeling a hunger. If you were truly underfed. Now, once that breaks, yes, prolonged fast, people say they stop feeling hunger altogether, but that's if you completely break. I think it probably over that day mark, because I know in a day circadian very important, but once you break that, people stop getting hungry later on in the fast. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then I did this best AI productivity, and bottom line, anything you can speed up with right clicks, like add to right clicks. There's a lot of installs that say add to right click. You want to say yes, that's going to be faster. This prints URLs, it's cool. Radiant, apparently Gemini, there's a lot of AIs that now watch your screen and you can talk to them, which is cool. They're not there yet to like automate that. Like you can't say, hey, type this for me and save this. And they don't work too well there, but they're pretty cool. Wispr flow is awesome because like right now, for instance, if I'm going down here and I want to, I wonder if it will work. If I do this and say hello, how are you? So it automatically says and say hello, how are you, which is pretty sick. And the great thing is you can do that from anywhere on your computer to any program, and it's pretty good. So that's Wispr Flow. It's free, I think 2 weeks, and then they limit you to 2,000 minutes or 2,000 words a week. But I think there's something if you use it like 100 words, which is pretty easy a day, you get an extra day of pro. So if you use it, you'll probably have it forever. Don't quote me on it, but it'd be cool. And then command line, apparently you can dictate system commands to it, which I tried and it didn't work. At least I have to see how to do that. Cool. Let's see if there's anything else. Costco exposed. Pretty much check the ingredients for things in Costco. And yeah, that is that. So now we did ChatGPT, YouTube, and now for the diary. So for diary, the cool thing is we're introducing hemp seeds. So far it's going well, so the reactions are definitely calming down. And one big thing for there, so apparently we talked about the, if you're going into kind of the gut, so you focus on the world, like reality, like that straw right there, and you go into that, like you go into it, it'll take you into the gut, and then you start feeling pleasure. One big thing, for whatever reason, that really helps take away inflammation, not only there, just anywhere in the joints, is that pleasure. It kind of expands, and things that are inflamed for whatever reason, they're like tight, stiff, but it feels like tight closing in. What you want to do is you want to expand that outwards with pleasure, and eventually it expands till it breaks, breaks good, and then it becomes kind of loose and just like normal, and it feels fantastic. So that expansion, and the deeper you go and the more you expand, it definitely helps make it stick, and the expansion is much stronger, but always with pleasure. And that's it. And then this right here. Oh yeah. So this used to happen, now it's happening again, when you sleep, there's nodes like, here is the melatonin node, so if you click there, like press down, you start like getting really sleepy, like yawning and stuff. Here's the growth hormone, it kind of makes you feel warm, interesting, a little inflamed at times, but and then you start kind of flexing and everything feels like something's going through your body. Yeah, like a warmth. And then there's testosterone, so down in the private, you would press down there, specifically the testes, and you feel very kind of energized, and other things. And this right here, after melatonin, you actually start like falling asleep quickly. And for me, there's a node, kind of the downwards tick that shoots downwards. There's the same thing for sleep, and it really makes you, kind of presses you against the bed and makes you just kind of numb out, like almost fall asleep, but in the best way. So that's cool. Trying Continuous, yeah, and that is that. Hopefully that helps you.